Moments ago, President Donald Trump took questions from the South Lawn of the White House and was asked about Iran and the Strait of Hormuz and whether he plans to take military action on Karg Island. Take a listen.
I bring our great Secretary of State out, and he is doing a fantastic job. So we have Marco. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, I wanted to ask you, Iran executed 3 people this week.
Terrible.
You have vowed strong action in the past. What message would you send?
Well, we've been hitting them awfully hard. I mean, I don't know if you can possibly get hit harder, but these are thugs and animals and horrible people. But you can't hit anybody harder than we've hit them. But I'm not surprised. They executed 3 young people for protesting.
And do you plan to escort those ships through the Strait of Hormuz with or without allies?
We're doing very well there. We're doing very well overall. You know, we don't use the strait. We don't. The United States. We don't need it. Europe needs it. Korea, Japan, China, a lot of other people. So they'll have to get involved a little bit on that one.
Do you still want South Korea support the United States?
Now, what about it?
Do you still want South Korea support?
Well, I love South Korea. We have a great relationship with South Korea. We're helping South Korea a lot.
Mr. President, do you think Israel will be ready to end the war when you're ready?
I think so.
Mr. President.
The relationship's a very good one. I think so.
Mr. President.
We want more or less similar things. You know what we want? We want victory, both of us, and that's what we've got.
Mr. President, what's your plan for Karg Island, Mr. President? What's your plan for Karg Island?
You know, I may have a plan or I may not, but how would I ever say that to a reporter? If I said that to a reporter, Marco would say, please, sir, let's bring you over to the helicopter immediately. Right? No, I can't tell you that.
Mr. President,
It's certainly a place that's people are talking about, but I can't say. Yeah.
Are you willing to
How
put
will
troops
the
there
Operation
now?
Epic Fury affect talks with Russia and Ukraine?
What about it?
Are the talks on back burner right now because of
No, we're talking about it. I think it'll get done.
Well, when do you expect the next round of talks to take place?
They take place almost every day. We're making a lot of progress.
Mr. President, you said that the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that? You said the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I think we've won. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force. We've knocked out their anti-aircraft. We've knocked out everything. We're roaming free. From a military standpoint, all they're doing is clogging up the strait. But from a military standpoint, they're finished.
So how much longer should the American people expect this to go?
You said opening the Strait of Hormuz is a simple military maneuver.
Very simple.
Yeah, but what did you mean by that?
It's a simple military maneuver. It's relatively safe, but you need a lot of help in the sense of you need ships, you need volume. And NATO could help us, but they so far haven't had the courage to do so. And others could help us, but, you know, we don't use it. You know, at a certain point, it'll open itself at a certain point. But we've defeated the enemy, and they are an enemy. They're a sick group of people. The leadership is gone, the Navy is gone, the Air Force is gone, the anti-aircraft equipment that they have, the radar they have is all gone. Everything's gone. The strait itself, the actual strait, how are you? The strait itself is, we're doing a good job, but it would be nice if the countries, including China, if the countries that use it, China uses it 90% of their energy. Japan is 95% of the energy. It would be nice if those countries would get involved. I thought she did a good job yesterday.
The American bases in Europe, Lindsey Graham has asked for you to reconsider the American bases in Spain, in Germany, after what they have done in the Strait of Hormuz.
Well, it deserves. He's right about asking that, and I think NATO's gone down a long way because they haven't. I mean, they should be helping with the strait. They get much of their energy from the Strait of Hormuz, and but Lindsey Graham said that, and don't forget, he was the big NATO guy for a while, and now he's not. And a lot of senators in Congress, they're very upset with the fact that NATO has done nothing.
to reopen dialogue. What do you think of? Well, look, we can have dialogue, but I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment. They don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar. And their leaders have all been killed at every level. We're not looking to do that.
All right, I want to bring in CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro. Aaron, much of President Trump's focus there is on the Strait of Hormuz and how its closure is impacting the global economy. What were your key takeaways from his comments just now?
I think it's notable how he said, while he's open to reopening dialogue with Iran, a ceasefire is not something that they're currently looking at. And he suggested that the U.S. has decimated Iran's military to a level to where that would not make sense to him. He also responded to questions about the UK Prime Minister offering their bases in the region to help with the U.S. and Operation Epic Fury. The president said, essentially, that's nice, but it's a bit too late for all of that. And he didn't seem to make any news when it comes to NATO countries or other allies answering his call to help militarily secure the Strait of Hormuz, which we know has been an ask that he's had throughout this week that has not necessarily been answered. In a Truth Social post this morning, he called NATO allies, quote, cowards, and said, we will remember that they did not help with the strait, as he argues that they're the ones that are benefiting from the oil that is transported through the strait, and thus they should be helping. But so far, given that the U.S. did not consult with any of these allied countries before Operation Epic Fury began, they do not seem to be answering his call.
Aaron Navarro, thank you so much.